Hey, everybody on YouTube or wherever you're watching this video. This is Drew from Sleep With Me podcast. Appreciate you watching the show, listening to the show. The best way to reach me with questions is the contact form on our website. I try to check comments and stuff like that too. But that's where I can really try to get your question answered. And if you love what we're doing here, and you're wondering, hey, how do I support? I want to be a part of what you're doing, helping people fall asleep. Best way to support the show is on Sleep With Me Plus. Second best way is to support it on whatever platform you're listening on. I think YouTube and Apple have ways to support it. Supporting our sponsors that I do host reads for, where you hear me talk about the sponsors, or you can check out our sponsors on our website. I guess that's the easiest way to do it. But I'll try to do more videos talking about that. And another way that's free is just spreading the word about the show, asking questions, making comments, subscribing and following. You could join our referral program to get rewarded about spreading the word about the show, or just even spreading the word about podcasting in general. You wouldn't believe it, but you don't even have to talk about Sleep With Me. You could just talk about your favorite podcasts and stuff like that. Sorry, just thinking anything else. But I really appreciate it. Those are the best ways to support what we're doing here and to be a part of and to get access to a bunch of cool stuff, like bonus episodes and all stuff like that. Thanks so much. Take it away, Scoots. What? Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who's searching for ways to take your mind off of stuff, to keep you company, to be your friend in the deep, dark night, a friend you don't really need to listen to, a friend who's here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so you could fall asleep. Welcome to Sleep With Me if you're new. This podcast is a bit different. I'm here to just be your friend, just like if you were listening to a show in the other room or with your screen turned down, or you had a friend on the phone. You say, hey, tell me all about Winterfest in Syracuse, New York. Oh, boy, do I have so much. No, not the interesting parts, though. Can you give me some out-of-date information and then go on tangents instead of talking about it? So maybe barely talk about your memories and then go off topic, and I'm not going to really listen to you. Oh boy, that's what this podcast is. Believe it or not, that's what this podcast is. So I'm happy to do that because I've had trouble sleeping. So I'm happy to help out those I can with my pointless meanders and superfluous tangents. But if you're new, it does take some getting used to, because you may have tuned into the show because it's a sleep podcast and you're like expecting something more sleepy, where this podcast is more company, company you don't, what's the best kind of company? Company you don't have to interact with or entertain. Company that's here to keep you company at a service. Anyway, if you're new, welcome to Sleep With Me. I'm really glad you're here. Most people say give the show a few tries because it is a bit different. But I really hope this podcast can help you out so that you can feel comforted in the deep, dark night, feel distracted while you kind of wind down, or kind of feel seen and welcomed as you wind down and get comfortable, and then feel barely distracted, like something pleasant is going on that you don't need to pay attention to, some pleasant rambling later on in the show. So, that's how the show works. So we got coming up, but we got support. So paying for the show's optional. Then a long meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And then later on will be our episode about Winterfest in Syracuse, New York, circa whatever year we're covering, but I don't really remember right now. But oh boy, am I happy to talk about it. So welcome to Sleep With Me. I'm really glad you're here. We're able to bring you this show by the people that support the show directly, support our sponsors, support one another with kindness, or people in the world just, putting kindness out in the world. That helps. It really does help everybody sleep. Spread the word about the show. We do it as a community, so I really appreciate it. And here's a couple of ways we are able to do it for you twice a week for free. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts you're thinking about, things on your mind about the past, the present, the future. See, I always say thinking thoughts, or sometimes I say that because, I don't know, it kind of diffuses them, not quite. It like aptly describes them. But kind of I don't like to, I always find it's nicer to pat my thoughts or my feelings or physical sensations, whatever's keeping me awake, to take an indirect approach. And that's kind of the way this podcast works, really, is I'm here to be a distraction, but also a calming distraction to whatever's keeping you awake, to say, hey, that's okay. I'm not here to point any fingers or do any like definitely no finger wagging. I mean, sometimes there's tail wagging at the beginning of the podcast, especially when I pander to pets and I say, hey, but don't forget to pet your pets as you wind it down. But let me say, so if it's thoughts or things you're thinking about the past, the present, the future that might maybe keeping you up, it could be feelings, anything emotionally coming up related to those thoughts or feelings that are just there. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine, travel, work schedule. Maybe you work a different shift. You could have a guest. You could be going through something. Whatever it is that's keeping you awake. The reason I run through some of that stuff is so you feel like somebody gets it, right? That somebody sees you and it doesn't disregard you or try to help you in a way that's not helpful. I don't know. That's would have been one of the things for me my whole life since I was a kid and I couldn't sleep because of school. Is that when people that didn't quite get it tried to help or fix it, I said, well, I don't think this is the kind of thing that that approach works for. I'm trying to think of the most, what do you call that? Not great, a graceful way to talk about it. Say thank you for your advice, because it's really tough because they're just trying to be helpful. They just don't get it. And even within this genre of sleep stuff, everybody has different tastes and different needs. And I don't know. I think for me, it's important for me to point out, even though not everybody likes it to be pointed out, to point out the fact that even though this is a podcast and it's getting sent out, that you're not alone. And this is actually true. There's enough people listening right now that while I think I can probably relate to how it feels for you. Even if you say, no, 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 you can't, you don't know what it's like. I say, okay. The good news is there really is someone listening right now somewhere in the world who has been through something very similar. And they are not exactly sitting up in bed, but they're aware of how you feel. And they do see you. And they do know what it's like. And I don't know, even though we're kind of connected but detached at the same time, the way this podcast works, it's important. It's important to me. It's why I make the show. And I don't know if I could wait. I'm not good at describing stuff either. So just trying to get the sense out. And here's the thing, that person right now that's thinking of you and they're thinking of you warmly, they're looking forward to the day. They say, I hope this podcast helps you out like it helped me out. It is very different. It did take me a few tries to get used to the fact that the show's always going nowhere. But once I found a word for it, I said, wait a second, I never knew something like this could or would exist. But I didn't realize to go look for it. I just found it in an indirect way too. And they hope that one day you're that warmth welcome. I mean, it makes sense in this context, for other people. So I hope you feel less alone, or if you if you're like me, you say, "No, I don't wanna feel less alone, actually." I say, "Okay, if you feel respected and seen in the part of you that doesn't wanna feel less alone, but you get what I'm talking about, because I got a bit of a curmudgeon in me in other parts too, so that's one part of it. The other thing is you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a bedtime where you can get the rest you need so your life is more manageable, where you could get the rest you need so you could be out there doing the things you want to do and it not being tired when you're doing it, right? And you deserve a bedtime you don't have to dread, that you could feel neutral about, or at least maybe at least feel neutral about, if not look forward to. And you see, well, I got that guy that just rambles on and on and on about nothing. So, I mean, at least I got that. Gonna listen to him later talk about, what does he talk about? Well, not nothing. He's like barely entertaining, or almost whatever's less than barely entertaining. He's like barely entertaining, barely humorous, like just a little bit less than that, but not zero. But also that doesn't quite sum it up, but he's, yeah, okay, can you tell me more? Okay, well, what he does is he sends his voice across the deep, dark night. He uses lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, and superfluous tangents. He goes off topic and gets mixed up, and it's a show that does take some getting used to, like most people, especially you say creaky, dulcet tones, what is that? Oh, well, his voice is not traditionally soothing. I mean, he doesn't have, one of those voices like in the trailers or with audiobooks or anything. He's just got his voice is not half bad. I mean, it's not, I don't know, his voice is forgettable. It's a voice I can barely listen to, but not in the way you're thinking. Oh, okay, sounds confusing. It is kinda confusing. Okay, so it does say so most people don't like the show when they first listen to it? No, most people don't, because it's just very different, but it takes 2 or 3 tries, and then at some point, you're like, "Oh, now I get that I don't need to get it." It's also a podcast that you just barely listen to. It's also a sleep podcast. It's been around 11 years. It doesn't put you to sleep. There's no pressure to fall asleep with this show. He's here over an hour, so you don't have to think about falling asleep. There's like 600 shows or something that you could listen to, and so you don't have to think about falling asleep. He's there to not to put you to sleep, but to take your mind off of stuff until you fall asleep, to keep you company until you fall asleep. Or if you can't sleep or you need a break during the day, or you wake up in the middle of the night, he's there to keep you company too. Oh, yeah? Does it sounds like he should have multiple terms for it. Oh, yeah, he does. He says he's your bore friend, your bore bay, your bore sib, your bore bud, your bore bee, your bores, your chairman of the bores, your neighbor, your bore bee. Oh, what was it, neighbor? Yeah, bore bee. I already said that one. Your bore sib, your bore cuz, your bore bruh, your best boyfriend forever. Oh, what does that mean? Well, it means just he's just here to keep you company and talk while you either listen or don't listen or barely listen. Wow. Anything else I would need to know about this show before I barely listen to it? Well, yeah, most people show up skeptical or doubtful, so he really explains what it is. But he really does that so he can meet you where you are. Because, of course, if you're looking for a sleep podcast, you're probably, feeling a little bit vulnerable and doubtful and maybe even have a frowny face because he's been there. Does he ever talk about himself, like, in the third person in a strange way? Sometimes he finds it, he likes to have some variety, but he's also like, he has so many things going on in there that, sometimes it seems reasonable to him, even when yeah, it does, it just does. I don't know what to say about it either. See, he can even comment on us talking about him. Yeah, keep going. It's like we're doing the work for him, but we don't get any of the credit, though. Yeah, it's like we're just having a conversation in his mind, and he's listening to it. Yeah, it's great, isn't it? It really is. Can you tell me more about the structure of the show? Because I know some people that throws them off. Yeah, that's what I mean. He likes to meet you where you are. So the show's structured in a very specific way just to get it out to the most people possible. And so it starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Then he tries to think of something silly to say. And that's the goal with the greeting is so you feel seen and welcomed in and you say, okay, I could check that podcast out. Then after that is support. So then you don't, it's the podcast is just out there in the world. Most people like listening to the ad supported version of the show linearly. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, it does. Then after the support is a long, meandering intro. Oh, wait a second. So what is the why is there a long, meandering intro? Is it the same every time? It's not the same every time. It follows a similar structure every time, but each intro is different because the purpose of the intro isn't to put you to sleep, it's to ease you into bedtime. Oh, what is it? What is that? I've never been eased into bedtime. Really? You never have? Well, maybe. Well, it's kind of like different for each listener. That's why it says give it a few tries. Like some people start listening while they're getting ready for bed. Some people start listening while they're in bed getting comfortable. Some people are doing some sort of chill wind down activity. Some people, a small percentage of people are asleep, and we're happy for them. We're even more happy for their partners that are so sound asleep. Oh boy, are we happy for them. So, yeah, but the intro, it kinda goes like 15 or 20 minutes to have a buffer like, the difference between being awake and asleep. Instead of just turning out the lights, it lowers them gently. Okay, yeah, I've heard that's what works, having a wind down routine and having, yeah, some time to chill out. Yeah. I mean, you could just listen to story-only versions. He has a podcast called Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me that's just story-only versions. But, yeah, you could kinda see what you like. Then there's some support, and then there'll be the story. Tonight will be about Winterfest in Syracuse, New York, and I think the medallion search. Oh, wow, that sounds interesting. Oh, it could be. In the hands of another person, it might be. But don't worry, he knows what he's doing. He's always barely knowing what he's doing. Oh, that sounds like a good description of what I've heard so far. Anything else I need to know? He's really glad you're here. He really hopes he's really hoping he could get out of this, and talk directly to you because he's really glad you're here. And him and a bunch of other people working on the show really hard because they yearn and they strive to help you fall asleep because they know what it's like, and they respect and see you. So he's really glad you're here. Works really hard. You're in a nice strive. I'm gonna take over from here. Okay, you go ahead and take over of your own podcast. So I'm really glad you're here. I really do work hard because I just want to help, and I know this show helps the people it helps. It doesn't help everybody. I do this a little late, but they forgot. If you loathe the show, there's a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you, that has other sleep podcasts on there. But I'm really glad you're here with this show, Sleep With Me. I really hope it can help you fall asleep. I appreciate you coming by and giving me your time. And these are a couple ways I'm able to do it for you twice a week. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's Scoots here, and this is our coverage of the 1989 Syracuse Winterfest. And I don't I gotta figure out, I'm not exactly sure when the first time I went to Winterfest was, but maybe we'll do this as an annual thing. But I do have a very positive memory. It could have been in 1989. Or I guess the last year when I was looking up some of this info, I did try to find out. Maybe it was maybe it was even earlier. Um, I think it probably was. Now you got to remember, I come from a family of 6 kids. I was the oldest, and I was about as helpful as like when I was not helpful. I did not put a fest. I put a winter and everything, but not the fest part. So I know at some point, and also, let's see, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but as a kid, as a child, I thought Syracuse, New York, where I grew up, was the center of the world. I mean, because it was the center of my world. And before I fantasized about my big break, which I don't know when I started doing that, I fantasized that Syracuse would become, or I even indulged in the fact that it was one of the great epicenters of the world. Sure, you had the great cities that you saw, I mean, particularly New York, because it was on Sesame Street, and Electric Company, and a lot of other shows. And then, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Syracuse. Like I said, okay, well, Chicago, I hear, is pretty good too. And so anytime things were news, like I wondered if this was a big deal globally. So Syracuse was having a Winterfest, which in my mind was like the only Winterfest that was being held, and they had snow sculptures. And as a person that indulges in fantasy, like whether playing or imagining or stuff, and watched a lot of television and movies, you would see, who went to the beach as a child, you would see the Hollywoodization of snow sculptures. Even though I did work briefly with someone who one of their jobs was a professional sand sculpture person, but you would see these things in movies or on TV, and you'd say, "Okay, I've tried to recreate those sand castles or friends or whatever people make, and I haven't even come close." And so it'd be like there was a piece of like something, I don't know, you're like somewhere out there, people are really doing this with sand. So then, and you would see this with snow forts in movies and stuff like that, but in sand, it's a little bit more glamorous. And let me just tell you, like we had the Great New York State Fair, so we did have butter sculptures, but those were behind glass because they were refrigerated. And those are a little bit more, have an impossibility to them because you need like 8,000 pounds of butter, where sand and snow are plentiful. So the idea, like, I don't know when I'd heard about Winterfest, but I was like, man, they're actually in Syracuse, New York, making giant snow sculptures and maybe even ice sculptures. Like, this is big. This is a big deal. I mean, I don't know. I'm expecting to see people from the main news, to come down to, this is going to be this is pretty big. And now I never look at things from my parents' perspective of the idea of like getting 6 kids in the car, even though Winterfest, I'm presuming, was free, but I don't want to presume anything. And if you live in a winter place, I think it's pretty, unfortunately for young scoots, it's like, oh yeah, we have Winterfest too. I say, okay. Do you have a jazz fest? You say, yeah, we do, actually. Yeah, we do. Okay. Well, I mean, fair enough. I guess more Winterfest. I mean, now I'm like, the more Winterfest, the merrier. But yeah, the idea of my parents taking us, because it would have been a Saturday or Sunday that they would have taken us. They would have to get us all in get ready for cold weather. Because I mean, even though I may have been like preteen or whatever, I was not exactly an independent. I was independently grouchy. Thinking about it, we definitely didn't. I don't think went in 1989, but maybe. But that's what I'm looking at. I think the info I have. So we did go. I think we went in a year where it was snowing and cold, and there were snow sculptures, and it was impressive. I don't have a whole lot of memories about it, so that makes sense that it wasn't in 1989. But for me, this was just sounded cool. And what we're gonna cover is one specific feature of Winterfest, which I'll introduce in a few minutes. I guess in my research, I think I did find another Winterfest that had this, but maybe not every Winterfest did. But this is something. If you talk to a Gen Xer or millennial and that grew up in Syracuse, New York, and you tell them about the medallion hunt, they're gonna you got yourself a few minutes of conversation if you need to make small talk, and I don't want to guarantee where the conversation will go, but invariably it only goes like it's an archetypal conversation you could have. So I did some news research last year, which I have in front of me. So I just want to look at the schedule first. There's a pancake breakfast. There was a carnival. Oh, some of this. Okay, so it was all around because this was at one of the ski centers. Their model train exhibit. That was at the Erie Canal Museum. A real wedding. That's what it says. 10 a.m. That's only at the Snow Castle. Wow. A real wedding. There's a planetarium program at the Discovery Center, 10:30 a.m. What else we have? Hay rides, pony rides. You could go. Oh, so this is Winterfest. This is even better than I thought. So this is maybe like there was. You could go Beaver Lake Nature Center. That's where I bought. That's where I think my Kmart earrings. I didn't get them at Beaver Lake Nature Center, but there's a show at the State Fair, like some sort of convention, planetarium, and star watching. Something at the art museum, modern art museum, the Everson Winter Wonderland at Clinton Square. This was the big thing, though. Entertainment from 1 to 3 p.m. and noon to 8 p.m. Renaissance players, choral groups, magicians, and storytellers. Another art gallery. Another museum type thing. Guided tours of a restoration of something. Birds, more stuff at Beaver Lake. Let's see, downhill skiing. Biloxi Blues play at the Salt City Center for Performing Arts. Okay, so that was so this was a Sunday paper. I don't have the front of the paper, but let's see. They talk about how it may have been a bit too warm for what they were planning on doing. One place from Syracuse, Oswego County, Bosse's was turning 900 pounds of ice into a 80-inch statue. And yeah, they had to get that done. They used melting stuff and cutting stuff. There's somebody else that did a swan sculpture. Oh, they talk about wedding carriage, cats. Then they had chowder cook-off. Ramada Inn won first place. And yeah, not much snow, they say, because the streets were blocked off and piled high with dirty, icy remnants. This is from Syracuse Herald Journal. Let's see, they got bands. Wait, this is like another thing. Group skiing. 4 adults on 2 long, slender slats. Yeah, that team won that. Next week, if it's not snowy next weekend, they're trying to come up with new events to put on so people will keep coming back. So yeah, they just in the winter this year didn't work it out. Most of this year, they say in the paper, the storms went across the St. Lawrence and not doing their usual track. Snowflakes. Oh, there's also more lake effect snow, which has less water content than Midwestern snow. They have thinner crystals than ones from other clouds. And because they have more openings, they melt faster. Interesting. Learn something new every day. Oh, there's a pulling of rope, ice breaking. I wouldn't be good at that. You say, Scoots, can you be in the icebreaker? Does it involve actual ice? Okay, here's a history article, though. Also from A1, though. That's only have half of it. Started back in 85. So I may have gone in like 85, 86, 87. So I guess, let's see what it says here. Okay. People were like, whatever, when they came up with the idea, people were like, I don't know. It was in 1984, a couple of people came up with it. I think a couple of people whose children I know. And it was Parks and Rec and the up downtowners, which is like I think a bit like a bit Chamber of Commerce TV station. Yeah, they were like, okay, well, to come up with different wacky ideas, and people were still, everybody was skeptical. But the first one was 4,000, for more than 4,000 people attended the first indoor party in the plaza. That was 2,000 more than expected. 7,000 people came out when they had a winter sky show with things in the sky. And then there was swooshing. That's for people on skis. The chili cook-off was on the NBC National News, so it was national news. But 86, it didn't go well because of lack of snow. The biggest flop was a plan to set a record by building the largest snowburst in Hanover Square. But the snow couldn't stay together over 18 feet. It had to get to 22 feet. It looked like a buoy, he says, Frank Bosco. Also, he didn't have a permit. So I guess that was just an idea because it says he didn't have a permit to build the snowburst. And they had to build credibility even through 87. 86 was tough, they said. And but we knew it was going to be successful. But it was bigger and better in 87. They had a budget of 150K, drew more than 200,000 people. So maybe that's the first year I went. And like a lot of it, the centerpiece, I think I remember this, was a polar bear. But it got covered in not snoot, soot, from the road. Cost 12,500. So that's probably the year I went because I think I remember seeing that thing covered in soot. But last year it got in became the official state home of the I Love New York Winter Festival and brought in a lot of business, positive impact. They're trying to get 100,000 people down there over this year. So exciting. Hanover Square. The opening ceremonies are whatever today, which was January 27th, 1989, Friday. And they began at noon. It should have taken a half day. All right, so this was a big thing. That was a big deal everywhere. So it was a treasure hunt. And each news, so Syracuse, once upon a time, as we've covered before, had 3 newspapers, 2 dailies, and then a Sunday paper. They had a morning paper. I may be wrong on all these. So Post Standard was the morning paper, and the Herald Journal was the evening paper, and the Sunday paper was called the Herald American, I think. I delivered the afternoon paper. A couple of my friends delivered the morning paper. But so all the newspapers, so the morning paper, the evening paper, and the Sunday paper would print clues to a treasure hunt. And here's how it works right from the paper. They've hidden a 2.5-inch plastic medallion. If you find it, you win $1,000 or $2,000 if you're a newspaper subscriber, double your money. And they print different clues every day in the Herald Journal, the Herald American, and the Post Standard. Scoots, you did it. And the clues will lead you there. Now, there's also rules. You have to stay within the county. You don't have to dig below the ground surface, but you may have to move snow. The medallion is hidden, so you don't have to climb on anything or go on any water. So stay away from water and ice. It's on public property. And like I said, 1,000, 2,000. You have to name the clue that led you to find it. Sign a photo release and publicity. And if you work for the committee, Winterfest committee, or the newspapers, you can't win. 2.5 inches. So it says the Winterfest treasure hunt in Syracuse newspapers on. It's made of plexiglass. I never knew that till just now. There's a drawing on it. I mean, yeah. So this was very exciting. Even though I think every once in a while we would go look for it. Now, I could. Okay, sorry, I had to break there because SD card filled up. All right, so we would go look for it, but invariably, like I know they were hidden in other places, but if you ask someone in Syracuse, it'd be 3 places or 2 places, like Long Branch Park, Beaver Lake, but I don't even know if Beaver Lake. I guess you can go in for free. I guess it's public land. I went there like 3 years ago. But I went to the visitor center first. I thought I paid to get in, but maybe not. But these are just where you would assume they would be. Beaver Lake, Long Branch Park, or I guess those are the only 2 I could think of. Oh, Green Lakes Park, but that might not be in Onondoga County. But obviously they did this more than 3 years, so they put it in other places. But those would be all, and it was almost always like, I'm not trying to spoil it, under a bench at Long Branch Park or Beaver Lake. That's just like how my memory is, but I think other people's too. But so what we're gonna do is go through the clues, but also the clues there's I think can't remember how many clues. I managed to get them all through using my library card. which it does take a bit of work to get the print version of newspapers nowadays, but I think it's very important, especially to have a sleep podcast. But so we'll look through the clues, and as we get further along, if we have time, we'll look through the paper as well. Okay, the first clue is actually not useful. Well, I guess maybe it is. So clue one, usually it's a poem, but I'm just going to paraphrase, right? It says, yeah, we've hidden something for you to find. Check the papers every day. And it's stay within Onondoga County. So that is a clue. Okay, that's clue one. Clue two. Okay, clue two is public lands. So it's on public land, particularly those with lots of space where folks each summer fest. So I think that's a giveaway right there where there's Summerfest. But what does that mean, right? But it's like, okay, it's someplace where people go for the summer. So I guess that would take us, that would probably get rid of Beaver Lake, because Beaver Lake is like nature trails. Long Branch Park is, could be it because it did have like festivals. But when I grew up, Long Branch Park was on Onondaga Lake, which was not known, like, you couldn't go in the water. And so, and I think you can now. I'm not positive though. I think my brother said you can, but, and then Green Lakes, but I'm not, I think Green Lakes is in Onondaga County. Okay, two clues down. Clue three. Oh boy, so well, here's another clue maybe. Some places are very green with birdies, woods, and trees. The resting spot is found near all of these. So again, that's another Green Lakes likelihood. But again, spoiler alert, I grew up there, so probably heard of what, so whatever. And also Green Lakes, I did go hiking there 2 or 3 years ago. So it's very good hiking. So it has nature trails and stuff, but also has a couple public beaches on this beautiful lake with the these limestone lakes. Very picturesque if you look it up. Okay, clue four. Got a hunch? You may be right. There's water nearby. And over the adjacent hills, weird things do sometimes fly. Huh. I don't know what that means. So Green Lakes is out it's not near the airport though. Huh. Okay, this is the first confusing one. But it is out there in the suburbs. I'm just trying to think if there's any sort of weird things do sometimes fly. So I don't know. It could be the airport is not near Green Lakes. It is near Long Branch Park though, and Beaver Lake. But it says weird things. So maybe there's like a private airfield or some sort of company out there. Or maybe they say this is mystery scoots. Okay, that's clear. How do I get back to one? Two? Is that two? Yeah. Okay, well, we worked our way backwards again. Clue three we got. Clue four was what we were on. That was the one weird things sometimes fly. Five. If your looking is lacking, try some old-fashioned tracking. I don't know what that means. I mean, I guess, yeah, I have no idea what that means. Oh, here's a clue. Okay. So this, I think, I mean, now I'm pretty confident we're looking. And I didn't look this up ahead of time. I swear, if you ask anyone I mean, depends on where they grew up, though, in Syracuse, but I think those would be they'd say Green Lakes, Beaver Lake, or Long Branch Park, or something on Onondaga Lake. But this really narrows it down, though. So do not be teed, T-E-E-D, if you're not on track. You may be getting warm, but choose a favorite summer spot where its people tend to swarm. Okay, this leans into Beaver Lake or Green Lakes because they have a golf course, and I think it's a public golf course. And tons of people go there in the summer, including me and my family. Okay, clue 7. Now we're halfway through. Lucky number 7. This fact will help you if you glimpse up towards the heaven. Okay, so the first place I would look at this one is hole 7 at the golf course, and then I would look around there. So I guess this is good because I didn't know where it was hidden, but this is where I would go look. Never been I've driven by the Green Lakes golf course, but I've never been there. But yeah, I would go. I mean, immediately I'd go to hole 7 and let's see if there's anything to look up at. Lucky number 7. Glimpse up towards the heaven. Okay, other than that, I'd see if there's any trails or anything. Okay, another clue. So this one I think we're good on. Like we just, there is a link from clue to clue. We'd not lead you astray. In fact, they're barefoot in this park, even on this day. Interesting. So it definitely link makes me think of golf course. But who's barefoot in a park? I don't know. I mean, that one, maybe there's some statue of some forest friend. Okay, look for several bridges and think of curves and flowers. All of these clues can save you several hours. Okay, well, that'd be easy to check a map. Okay, we're getting more and more interesting. A certain Disney character may state where you can park. Think carefully of this clue. It's not here as a lark. So maybe there's a duck parking lot or a quack. I mean, lark makes me think of birds. Only Disney bird I can think of is a Donald Duck. I don't know, it makes me want to start searching, but not yet. That's clue 10. All right, clue 11. Take some time and look around for fairly new open igloos. They're poor shelter in their present state, but where they stand, you'd take a date. Fairly new open igloos, where you'd take a date. I don't know. That one's confusing. Progress may be limited, but it's no time to quit. Cut down on the size of the venue just a little bit. No, not helpful for me. Oh, wait, are we missing? I know we're missing. No, that's 12. Now we're an unlucky number after 12. Okay, this is a big clue, though. If we had more information, which I don't, but we're fairly certain on the straight and narrow, not far from where the treasure lies, there may also be arrows. So that would say to me there's an archery park. I don't know where you would take a date, though, in the looking up part, but I guess I was never been more wrong in my life. Okay. This is hilarious. Talk about embarrassing. By clue 14, Scoots, so wrong. By now, you probably figured out it's hidden at the fair. If that's not where you've been looking, you best get over there. So, I mean, that doesn't help me at all. So let's go back. Okay. I mean, I'm actually like blushing because I was like, man, we're really close to finding this thing. So let me see if I can get anything. Okay, Summerfest. I guess that's New York State Fair. That's at the end of the summer. Okay, green with birds and trees. So I don't know how many places that they've revamped the fair a couple times since then, but it must be a nature area. Adjacent hills where weird things sometimes do fly. I don't know what that is. That's hard. Tracking. I don't know what that means either. People swarm. Glimpse up towards the heaven. So I don't know. I guess I'm not good at this. They're barefoot in this park even on this day. So there must be a park inside the fair. What is barefoot? I like this. I think they're doing a good job. Even though I thought several bridges, curves, and flowers. Okay, so I don't really know, but somewhere at the fair, there's probably this. I think there was one or two parks, and then the parking. I guess maybe they had Disney park, like I don't know. But, I'm humbled. This is good though. Okay, I don't know what these fairly new open igloos are, but where you would take a date, cut down the size of the venue just a bit. Yeah, well, fairly certain arrows. So I think the arrows just got to be some kind of archery, or maybe it's arrows pointing to something. And clue 14, and then clue 15 was the only one I couldn't get for some reason. Okay, clue 16 though, something else that looks like snow will lead you to the place. Thoughts of Noah and his ark should bring a smile to your face. I don't know, man. I think we're almost to the last clue, too. If you haven't found it yet, it's time to look around. The prize is plain as day, flat upon the ground. Look by where the sheep lay. Then it's your turn to play. And keep the 15th clue, which we don't have in mind, and our treasure you will find. I guess so. Was that the last clue? Yeah, so that should have got us there. But it didn't. I guess I could Google and see. Though these are the kind of things that the internet's always not always good at. Now let's just go through the paper. But it's okay not to. I mean, someone found it. Okay, so let's see. So this one has the movies that were out. Um, that's the last page. Yeah, is that the last clue? And let's see what else they have. Winners of the academic decathlon. So these people have got to be super successful now. Let's see. There was some sort of quiz they had the answers to. Here's the movie section and the arts section. So movies that were out at that time: Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Her Alibi with Tom Selleck. And Paulina Poroskova. What else we have here? Swizzle Singers still have that old magic. If you need one more reminder, you're not as young as you used to. Swizzle Singers made their debut 25 years ago. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what they sang. It's 1,200 people at their show. Sigourney Weaver, Melanie Griffith, and Harrison Ford, Working Girl. I didn't realize that was R. Another Antigone was playing at Syracuse Stage. And in the second run theaters, the one I would have gone to was Tequila Sunrise. All seats $2.50. And then Land Before Time was playing at another one on the north side. What else we got here in the thing? Musicians are performing Sunday at the library for the Arts Alive series. A love song review after ours. Among the tunes scheduled, Babyface, Toot Toot Tootsie, She's Sweet, Happy Days Are Here Again. New play at Lemoyne College. Sitting Quietly, Doing Nothing, Spring Comes and the Grass Grows. It's a new work by Onondoga Community College instructor David Feldman. I can't quite. Yeah, David Feldman. And it has characters falling in love. Another musical program getting going at Lemoyne. A Valentine Bouquet. A pianist in concert at the Everson Museum. It's a Civic Morning Musical Lunch Hour Recital Series, 12:30 p.m. Wednesday. And what else we got? The next page. That's the same one. I accidentally repeated it. Let's see. We've got wall heaters. 50% off one of the ski sale because it's, I guess, in the thing. Two Cousins Fish Market. Anywhere from $1.50 up to $7 a pound. Okay, here we got sports, more ski stuff. I just want to see if got what do you call those things? Windshield wipers are $5.88. I feel like that price hasn't gone up that much. I'm not sure though. Okay, we got another ski shop. Oh no, it's a resort in Vermont. 70 miles of skiing at Killington Sixth Mountain Ski Resort. Wow, that sounds cool. Okay, we got basketball. Trying to think anything. NHL. What do we got here? Basketball. Let's see who's playing in basketball. Or what other sports? What do we have here? NBA. New York was at 28-16. Cleveland 32-9. Utah 26-17. Lakers 30-14. Phoenix 27-15. So I wonder if this was the year of those. I was trying to see who's playing. Kevin McHale, Lewis. So that's on Boston. Parrish. Wow. Ainge. Paxson. What do we got on Philadelphia? Coleman. Dominic Wilkins was on Atlanta at the time. Phoenix, Hornacek, Chambers, Johnson, Corbin, West, Kerr. Steve Kerr's on there. Wow. Lakers had Greenworthy, Abdul-Jabbar, Cooper, Johnson, Woolridge, Rivers. So interesting to see some of the people playing. Okay. There's another clue. I can't believe I was so wrong on that clue, though. There's an ad for the LOTTO. What else we have? Other things. I'm just trying to. I love looking at the old ads. Fishing, kind of saying, hey, let's do less fishing. Some stuff about hockey. I don't really follow. Thinking somebody's talking about baseball. Thinking about baseball. Good. What else do we have here? There's an ad for bread, 15% off, Millbrook Light Bread. So, never heard of that before. But yeah, it's back in the day. Around the house. So they have some different tips here from around the house. There's a 36-page book by G on lighting that you could get for free if you call the 1-800 number. A do-it-yourself glasses holder, like that you put your glasses, you slide them out, like what are those called? Like wine glasses where they're held upside down. Tells you how to do that step by step. Tips on buying a comforter. Talk about Sleep With Me listeners. You could spend on a comforter, according to this, $89 to $900. And you want to make sure you get your fill right. If you're getting it for the cool winter, depending on the size of your bed, the higher the fill per in the ounces or whatever, and then you want the higher the thread count of the shell, the less less it'll like stuff like air will get inside. You don't want to think anything less than a 220 baffle, and you want an interior fabric wall, which could cost money. Okay, here's a architecture thing. I didn't even know I had these kind of things in the newspaper. This one says the great room gives a house an airy feel. So this must have been new back in 1989. Great rooms. Oh boy, are you great. A great room occupies most of the main floor. This, I guess, maybe it's from a housing thing. So it's called the Stratton. And it's designed by somebody from Knoxville, Tennessee. Airiness is huge room. Combines cooking, eating, and living areas. So pretty cool. I'd love to have a great room. All right, on the next page. Oh, job listings on the air. This is what I like. Oh, this is a radio. Is this business radio? Wow, they have all the business radio shows listed here. So we got daily. There's a NPR business report, 6:06, 7:06, and 8:06 a.m. Stock market 5 and 6. And another business report on another channel, and stocks at 4 and 5 p.m. Your business, 12:42 p.m. So if you want to mind your business, you tune into that. Or let's see, another report, ABC radio. Another one at 7:10 a.m. More of the NPR, and there's more than one NPR channel. National Business Report, 6 a.m. Midday Stock Report, 12:15. Business Barometer, 4:40 p.m. Agribusiness Farm Show, 6:05 a.m. Money Talk, 7:05 a.m. The American Farmer, 5:40 a.m. Then on cable, TV. Okay, so now we're into TV. ESPN had Nation's Business Today. Let's see what else we had. Robert Reich was on a show. I don't know if that was every day, 6:30 p.m. BizNet News, Money Matters. They used to have a channel, FNN, BizNet News, Market Line, Market Wide. Okay, it's a lot. Today's Business, really creative stuff. FNN. Oh, that's just like daily. I'm just trying to think anything interesting. Computer Chronicles, 3 p.m. All right, let's see if there's any. Let's see if there's any jobs that Scoots could qualify for. Consulting with GE. Sounds like I don't have anything. That's like you need a degree in that. So these are caring for others that you need degrees in. Sales receptionist. You can call collective necessary. International photography company seeking sales consultant trainees to work in retail. This could be at what do you call that thing with the like the business those the signs that say achieve, you know. Oh wow, product manager at wastewater treatment systems. Working experience credentials needed though. Apprentice photographer. A broker. Sales rep at helping process payroll. Job campaigning. Perform image seminar. I don't know what that is. Manager trainee. Hydrogeologist. Wow, man. Very specific ones in there. Okay, they have an article about Syracuse women's basketball had a big win, 59-56 over St. John's. So there's a great victory there. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, House of the Week. Oh boy, how do you? I mean, House of the Week. House of the Week. You have won House of the Week. You can mail in and get your something for Houses of the Week. Holy cow! This is interesting. This house looks interesting. I don't know if this is national news or not. Daylight floods a one-story home. Okay, this is designed. This is like a, not AI, but it's designed D19. Tell me more about you, D19. I'm a one-story home full of daylight, exceptionally functional. Okay, tell me more, D19. Designed by Charles Cody. Okay, tell me about the hall. How many bedrooms you got? 3 bedrooms, single story. They got a facade with a stone circular glass bay and nice contrast with the square form of the house. Stained vertical siding with accent, stone veneer, low maintenance finish. Man, I got a low maintenance finish. I was thinking that. Also have an inviting entryway into a sunny gallery, which is bright, and 2 side plates that flank the main entrance door. Central gallery is effective hub of the house, by the way. Directs household traffic right to the activity area and to the right. And then the sleeping wing is on the left. It's a combination living room, dining room. It's an exciting large space, bold fireplace, dramatic domed ceiling, circular dining room, tall, narrow chimney, tall, narrow windows, stone chimney. And that I've got a little informal area too. Oh, wow. Tell me more. Yeah, it's informal at the rear of the house, spacious family room, semicircular dinette, modern and efficient, U-shaped kitchen, We got a main bedroom with maximum seclusion, view of the landscaping, sliding glass doors to a private terrace, walk-in closet. Perfect for maybe you could get a walk-in closet one day, Scoots. Well, maybe, I don't know. Whirlpool tub. The other two bedrooms have ample closet space and share a full bath. There's a mud room. I know you like those, Scoots. That's next to the gallery. Also has laundry facilities, easy access to the double garage. Wow, so I could walk in. If I came in the garage, you could go. I don't know where you'd go. I'm not sure. Okay, well, it's fine. You'd come in the mudroom, actually, and then you go into the gallery, just like the front door. Mudroom's runs parallel with the front door, which is also on the driveway. Okay. And then I go left, I could go to the bedrooms, or I could go right to the living room, and then the great is that a great room? Well, technically it's a one story, so but no, it's a nice room. Oh yeah, sounds great. All right, that's I think all of our stuff. Oh, there's a half price sale at some place, J.C. Penney of all places. But it's half price on everything. It doesn't have any pictures, so doesn't really help us. All right, so I'm trying to look up the medallion hunt from '89. There's someone selling a pin on eBay, but these are just articles about it. Oh yeah, St. Paul has a good Winterfest. That's one thing I found when I was trying to look stuff up. That St. Paul's. See if I could just look up by location. This one this doesn't seem to be correct. Was I looking at 89? Make sure. Yeah, according to the internet, it's not at the state fair. But well, that's kind of weird. Interesting, because this does sound like, and this is like a Syracuse. Let's see here. Yeah, see, once you get into this stuff, it's really hard to find because if you don't have if you're not at a library, like really digging deep, like everything, it's just hard because it has vintage photos, but so I don't know. 1989, not found. Well, to be continued, but this is fun. We looked up, I mean, it's always fun when I'm on tape being totally wrong. But this one does say Mill Run Park in Manlius, which, let me just look that up. Mill Run. Having trouble typing. Okay. Mill Run Park, Manlius, New York. Okay. Oh, this is in Indiana, though. So, a lot of mill run parks in different places. Just see if there's like, I mean, they do have swans and stuff. I'm just wondering if it has playground, pavilion, two trails. I don't see a golf course or anything. I was just wondering if it was like, anyway, Scoots info. Swat. That's why I didn't find any medallions, but that's why I'm taking you off into Dreamland. So thanks so much for listening, everybody, and good night. I hope you dream of warm, cool, puffy comfort. Good night.